We're so totes the goats. All right. Only disease that they extend is tuberculosis. 3 reasons it's not deadly. First is that it's not going to mutate.
You don't have to tell me how many reasons.
Okay. All right.
It's not deadly.
It's not deadly. It's not It's not deadly. It's not going to mutate. Our evidence says that the mutations are very low, especially in things like tuberculosis, which have already mutated their brink. Secondly, it's not going to spread. You literally have to be in close proximity for a very long time to get tuberculosis.
Literally,
you have to be in close proximity.
Yeah.
You could figure it.
Literally,
If you just said that, I would be like,
actually, wait, no, you have to be like.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a literal.
I wouldn't hear that, even though that is in fact
it's
there's a correct use of the term literally, but I wouldn't hear you say that and be like, oh, that's clearly the TB metaphor. Like that clearly relates to that sweet TB narrative.
Figuratively close to the disease. You take faster.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, moving on.
That's true. And I just realized that's the wrong word.
Okay, proceed.
All right. First, they don't solve the chilling effect, means no one to go to hospitals because people are still going to be scared of being deported since the affirmative does not change the federal structure of immigration. Second, we are innovative. 200,000 years says that they are wrong about disease-causing extinction. Humans actually coexist with disease because diseases have a vested interest in us living long enough for them to spread, and they don't want to die because they need a host. Finally, tuberculosis is a very low threat. First, drugs exist to solve drug-resistant strains. In fact, they're very low cost since the cocktail we already have, which means that would be available to the immigrants. Secondly, said they're not going to spread. You have to be in close and constant proximity to someone. If you're making out with someone coughing up blood, you have bigger problems. No one is going to die from tuberculosis, and there's a constant chance we turn it. Finally, is racism. The plan actually does not solve. They concede it backfires because the plan will be seen as handout to the dirty immigrants. They have already entrenched the racism with the Welfare Reform Act. We simply can't pass a policy and expect to change all the racist bigots inside the United States. That's a fee evidence. Even we don't turn racism, they do themselves.
I don't think you can say that.
Yeah, you scored for inefficiency with 30 immigrants.
Yes! You are always great!
Now let's hear it from the top so we can get a
On top, shiny guys over here. Shiny third!
Oh, yes. Okay, we have a queue. Stokes is posted in our queue. There are a bunch of candidates.
I'm after Stokes.
I'm already off Stokes.
I'm after a winner not here.
I already called it for you. What are you talking about?
After Cam.
Toby, shut up.
Toby. Sit down, Toby.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm putting my gun down. But does someone have a timer?
It would be like, it's fast.
Okay.
If
What
it's
is
fast,
this is filming?
it's not
Yeah.
a comparison. If it's fast, it is a comparison.
Wait, let me just.
Wait, can you not go back?
Oh, because we thought you were talking about TV. We thought you meant prolific method and hospitality. That makes more sense.
Yo, Zane, was there a line by the line on politics, or they don't
There is a line of line. That's after impact calculus. It's just like prolif doesn't cost more, and it's non-unique.
CTV doesn't solve.
And yeah, CTD doesn't change. Oh, that was
Whatever.
It never be efficient.
Alright, none of you.
None of you. Did all of that.
Don't allow new 2ER arguments. The 2NR makes strategic decisions based on 1ER concessions. We outweigh and turn the case versus time frame. Countries are attempting to arm themselves right now. North Korea has been testing even bigger bombs they had a few years ago. Our very evidence takes for 90s into account says that now is a critical time to act because weapons are cascading across the world. This is specifically important because their impacts are systemic disease, racism, and economy. Economic class have been around for years. It's also true, and they've never caused extinction. Proves there's a very low probability. Also, when our magnitudes are both extinction, time frame becomes a tiebreaker. It's a better impact lens because it's going to try die for us. If we access their impacts before they ever happen, and the impacts extinction, we cannot get out of it, and we turn every advantage versus racism. War necessitates racist propaganda against the entire world because the federal government wants to mobilize the United States population. That means we access more global impact to racism. That's morality. Second, they concede utilitarianism argument. If extinction happens, it's going to outweigh racism because we can't solve racism if we're dead. Finally, or medicines, disease, war destroys medical infrastructure because there are going to be bombs going off everywhere. Even if medical authorities want to do something, they simply couldn't. and it also would lead to spread because there would be bad amounts of deaths. George R. Sagan evidence says that this means it would spread quite quickly. Also is the type of mass hospital overload that they're criticizing next to the economy. War diverts funding away from things that could be used to help the economy, especially in a recession like this. It would also kill trade because we would not be able to solve our tensions. Our friend Norwood evidence says that war would be the critical factor in destroying the economy. Finally, is bioterrorism. If countries are proliferating, terrorists are going to have to fight back since they don't have the resources to make nuclear weapons. They're going to try and fight back with chemical weapons, make their impact inevitable. Secondly, is the CTBT is the first step to an international cooperation over Russia's mass destruction means we solve the root cause of war. If countries are going to if countries are not sure that their weapons are going to work because they haven't tested them, they will prefer conventional weapons. Two scenarios for escalation. First is conceding proliferation leads rogue states getting bombed means terrorist states attacking the United States and are their own course. The evidence says this would lead to international escalation. Secondly, is an accidental launch. It would cause a conflagration that was spirals out of control because the United States simply isn't going to believe that Russia was J.K. Rowling, and the uniqueness is answered about try or die for our impacts and economy. First, they can see they only have a domestic internal link to the economy. Their meat evidence simply doesn't coincide with this. Meat is talking about when the entire international financial economies and financial strife means they don't have any access to nuclear war. They have their only argument is that the U.S. would go to war because they become crazy in time of economic collapse. Our second argument directly answers this. The United States would simply not have the resources or the public support, and instead people like Obama would pursue diversionary tactics where they would negotiate even with our biggest rivals so they could use, they could trade, they could use it, and they could use resources to stop war. That's Brent Norwood on to bioterror. No, on to. Green is not talking about introducing TB into the Mexican population and them coming across the border. Green is talking about introducing a bioweapon into the United States via a missile or some other kind of aerosolization. That means that all of our arguments apply. First is hype. Our Dansby evidence says that there's a political hype around bioterrorism because the scaremongering allows them to get more funding. Right now there have only been 5 deaths from bioterrorism, yet there's $7 billion in funding. Proves that there's a very low risk and you should be very skeptical of all their arguments. Secondly, there are no good conditions. Look here says the pathogens will not be released in the right place and they would probably die before they even got here. Additionally, they have to be extremely small to be lodged in the lungs, and it's scientific capabilities that terrorists simply don't have. The fact that 9% of them would initially fail allows for a low death toll, a more tame federal response, and their technical barriers. Pathogens simply can't be manufactured the way they want them to be. Our cite some beautiful examples when even the crazy, really smart, and kind of insane Russians tried to create these pathogens. They simply couldn't. Additionally, the ultimate impact, the only impact that they extend to one of ours is disease, meaning if we win our defense then we win disease. First, they don't even solve the chilling effect. That means that people, they don't solve any other disease arguments or bioterrorism because they do not restructure federal policy on illegal immigration. People are still scared to get deported. That means no one's going to go get mental health care. Secondly, we're innovative. 200,000 years says that Toby Jacoby is wrong about disease causing extinction. Their evidence is actually half. Their South China Morning Post evidence, which they read before the thing was posted, is actually by someone who didn't even graduate high school. We are talking, our positive evidence is we'd be able to innovate because we coexist with viruses. Secondly, tuberculosis is a low threat. First is that drugs exist right now to solve them. They're relatively cheap, means we can have a low-cost cocktail that we could give to immigrants and solve the last minute. Finally, there's no spread. You have to be in very close contact with someone to die. I'm not going to make the make-out joke again. No one is going to die of TB around the entirety of the world. At worst, Asia is the epicenter. Finally, is racism. The plan backfires. The people who are bigots right now are going to see it as a handout to the not dirty immigrants and they're going to be extremely unhappy. You can't just change a mindset that was happened by the Welfare Reform Act. They concede racism is deep-seated in the individuals and the federal government trying to do something going to work. That's fee and 7.
Good.
One thing, the reason, by the way, that I keep insisting that you close your laptop, I mean, if I really felt that this was just strictly one-on-one, then, by all means, cut cards or do whatever your computer thing is. I do think that there's a significant value to listening to your colleagues with a sort of critical ear. I mean, I think there are a lot of times when you listen to speeches, you're just listening to the arguments that you have to beat, which is a good way to listen to them, but it's also useful to listen the way that we're trying to listen and try to hear where those inefficiencies are, because then when you tape yourself, it's easy to kind of use the same critical ear for self-evaluation. Well done. Round of applause. Yay! Lucy, you should cut so we have distinct ones on.